And you see, but not most of us don't like to grow. Now, going back to the plant, we also have a warped meaning of grow, right? Going back to the example of a plant. When we think growth in a plant, many of us think it's picking fruit and, it's taking the fruit off the vine. That's when a plant has grown. But no, growth is a process. Amen? Growth is a process. Bearing fruit is a result of the growth. But the growth is the process of you watering that plant, removing the weeds, setting it up. If it's a tomato plant or bhaji, you got to send some jockey, right? And make sure it stays right where it is. You got to make sure that it grows up straight so that when the fruit comes, it won't be on the ground where the pests can get it. But the fruit will be high enough in the ground so that it can be taken off. Amen? And you see, growth is often a painful process, right? They have something called growing pains because it is not an easy process. Amen? In order for this plant to grow, it must be able to endure both rain and sunshine. Amen? It must be able to endure the scorching heat and also sometimes the cold night, especially at the beginning of the planting season. Amen? It must be able to endure both hot and cold, both wet and dry in order to grow. And this is why we often get so tangled up when we go through things in life and we say, God, why am I going through this? Why am I going through a dry season? It's because that's what's required for you to grow. There are things that you will only learn in the dry season that you will never pick up if it was always raining. Amen? Going back to the plant again, the plant, when it's dry, it knows to preserve the water that it has. Amen? It knows how to make its way through those dry seasons and to store up until the rain comes back. Amen? It would never do that if it was not dry. And it's the same thing with us. There are things that you will never do. And we can say that we're willing to do it, but to be honest, most of us will never do the things that we really need to do in order to grow until we have no other choice. Right? It's the real truth. It's just the fact of the matter. Some of us, as much as we like to think that we can, pray 20 times a day and we can seek and stay in the presence of God, unfortunately for some of us, it just takes us going to a place where we have no other choice to be able to do it. Amen? But that's part of growth because God will use those things to set the foundation of you spending time in His Word, spending time in worship. And the goal is that now when you're out of the dry season, when He pulls you up out of the pit, you don't leave those habits behind, but now you take them with you and you continue to grow even more. So now when the rain comes and you're beginning to get watered, you can flourish now because you have the nutrients, you have the things needed for you to grow and you can flourish. Amen?